that, and you know what, I'm going to change that message because that's a little too liberal. It says you need 80% efficiency. You really need a lot more than that. But we'll get to that later. So this is your feedback. It's telling you whether or not you basically met your goal in relation to fat loss versus muscle gain versus fat gain and muscle loss. This column just tells you how much muscle and fat weight change occurred. So fat loss and fat gain, muscle gain. This is the calculated activity adjustment. What this does is it takes the calories you consume that week, and then it looks at how much muscle and fat you gained or lost, and it recalculates what your real activity adjustment was for that week. So if this number is different from the number that you guessed, then you would go ahead and plug in the number that's calculated. Over the course of time, you'll begin to see, a set of numbers here. And you can begin to kind of take the average of what those numbers are. From one week to the next, you might be more or less active. And actually, I'm probably going to put an average down here so that you can see that. But you can kind of eyeball it. If you got 165 and then you got 145 and then you got 150, then 150 or so maybe 155 would be a good average of those. Okay, so that's the purpose of this column, is to give you the correct number to put it over here. Okay, so that your calories to consume will be accurate. All right, so this is your efficiency. Okay, so you want to keep that really high. It says 80% over here, but I would actually say you need to be at least 90% efficient. I'd say really you really want to be closer to 95%, but that's the percent during the cut cycle. That's the percent of fat loss as compared to muscle loss. So 95% fat loss and only 5% muscle loss. You really want to be around there, because if you don't, you're just spinning your wheels. You're going to be going in circles, losing muscle, looking anemic basically as you lose weight, and that's not a desirable state to have that percentage too low. That means you're losing too much muscle. Alright, so I already told you, as these numbers shift down, you copy, paste values up to the cell for the week that just ended. Like today is November 6th, so the week of November 5th just ended last night. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and change this back because I don't really have that much information. Now, when you fill all of these in, at some point you may want to start over. You've got you're tracking all these numbers and you just want to get fresh numbers. Like me, I just changed scales, so I wanted to have all these numbers based on the new scale and the measurements it gives. So you can just kind of select the cells, these cells here, and then you can drag the bottom, or drag the corner up, and it'll replace the numbers you put in back with the formulas. Okay, so now the formulas are back in there, and that's what we want to see. That's what we want to do. Okay, and now you have a fresh start. Then you put in the numbers here as they should be. These three numbers, the week ending, and always ended on a Friday. This spreadsheet is dependent on that. Saturday morning, you put in your last set of measurements, and then you put in your weekly averages here. All right. So cut, bulk cycles, we've explained that. Down here, I put in some averages just to kind of get you an average. Well, actually, it's not exactly averages. What it does is it takes the first week, and then it goes and finds whatever week you're on. So if it were February 18th and all of these have been filled in and you're in the February 18th week, it takes the last completed week and then compares it to the first week, and then it gives you numbers based on that. And what will really be important here is for instance, your efficiency. you'd want that efficiency at 90-95% over the course of your weight loss program. So it'll give you that muscle fat change, and I don't remember what all I put down here right now, but what is this daily target? So anyways, that's nothing really important. The column that's important there would be the efficiency, and you'd want to keep that efficiency high. And then maybe you want to see your average calculated activity adjustment. Actually, let's go ahead and put that in here. Average of these columns. Since I don't have any in there, it doesn't put anything there. Okay. So once I have numbers there, it'll give you an average activity adjustment. Let's see here. So I think everything has been explained here. You don't really need to understand these. This is just saying, well, I guess I'll explain a little bit. Based on studies, you're really only able to gain like 0.0675 pounds of muscle a week, which is a minuscule amount. But there is a corresponding amount of water. So the water and the muscle together, because muscle is 73% water approximately. So it actually comes out to basically about 1/4 of a pound of muscle and water during the muscle gain cycle. Anything more than 1/4 of a pound will be fat that you have gained. That's why you want these calories low. You can only gain 1/4 of a pound, and muscle only has 600 calories per pound. So you're talking about 150 calorie surplus for the whole week to gain 1/4 of a pound of muscle, and you're doing 150 calorie surplus a day. So all of the rest of that goes to fat gain. Man, that sounds depressing. I think I'm going to reduce this to 100. Okay, so now during fat loss, fat is approximately 88% fat and only 12% water. So this calculates out based on your efficiency rating that you set, and we'll see that on one of the other spreadsheets. If you said 95% efficient, then it'll calculate 95% fat, 5% muscle, and then also calculate the water loss from the muscle and the water loss from the fat, and give you a total weight loss, and then you got your total weight gain. Okay, and that's used to figure out the target weights. Not just calculating your fat and muscle, but the fat, the muscle, and the water changes. Okay. So a lot of information you don't really need to know too much about. Over here we have calculators to calculate your goals, when you can reach certain goals, based on the information I have available, and I think it's accurate at this point, but it's a sophisticated formulation. This is a lot more sophisticated than what you find on the internet, and this is a good time to point out one of the things I said earlier. I'm trying to add value. Okay, if you want a calculator just tell you when you can get to X weight, losing X pounds per week, then okay, that's a really basic formula. Anyone can give you that. 2 pounds a week. You want to lose 40 pounds, it'll take 20 weeks. Okay, it's not terribly accurate, but I found that basically useless. So this is a lot more sophisticated than that, and these formulas are meant to be more useful, and only time will tell how accurate they are. But I'm assuming all the numbers that I found in research. Muscle is 600 calories. Fat is 3,500 calories.